Start distributing it. Call this meeting to order. Tuesday, April 7, 2020, 7:02 p.m. City of Somerton Regular Council Meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya,
Present.
Vice Mayor Marta Garcia,
Present.
Councilmember Miguel Villalpando,
I'm on the phone.
Councilmember Carlos Gonzalez,
I'm also on the phone.
Councilmember Luis Galindo,
Present on the phone.
Councilmember Jesus Roldan,
Present on the phone.
Councilmember Juan Castillo.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Just want to mention for the people watching us on YouTube, we, in effort to practice social distance, we have 4 of the council members on the phone remotely, and we have 2 council members present here. We're gonna go on to call to the public. Is anybody for the public wishing to address council? I don't have any of the notices, but
Correct, Mr. Mayor, there's no one here for call to the public.
thank you. And what about the council members that are on the phone? Can you guys hear us okay?
Correct, Mr. Mayor, there's no one here for call to the public.
Yes, I can.
What about
Yes.
members that are on the
There's a lag.
So it looks like if they're watching the YouTube channel,
Yes, if you're watching the YouTube channel, put it on mute because we can hear it. We know that there's a lag, but if you're on the phone, you can listen real time.
I have my phone on mute, so.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda. There's 2 items in consent agenda. Approval of March 17, 2020 regular council meeting minutes. Approval to perform slurry seal work with American Pavement Preservation. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
So move, Mayor.
There's a motion by
Councilman Gonzalez.
Councilman Gonzalez, and second.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we're gonna move on to new business. Is there any member of the Cocoa tribe present?
No, Mr. Mayor, ask that this item be tabled. The representative from Coca-Cola was unable to make it tonight.
Okay.
Make a motion to table the item.
There's a motion by Councilman Castillo, second by Vice Mayor Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7B, discussion and possible action to reappoint Francisco Vasquez as City of Somerton representative on the Yuma County Library District Board of Trustees.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the current term of Francisco Vasquez as the City of Somerton representative on the Yuma County Library District Board of Trustees expires on June 30th of this year. He has expressed interest in continuing to serve in this capacity. The council is asked to confirm this reappointment so it can go before the Yuma County Board of Supervisors no later than June 1st, 2020 for confirmation. This is a 3-year term. The council is asked to approve the proposal. The council is asked to reappoint Mr. Vasquez. Thank you.
Is there any questions or comments from council? Is there a
I would
motion?
like to make a motion to approve Mr. Francisco Vasquez for the representative on the Yuma County Library District Board of Trustees.
There's a motion by Councilman Bernal,
Second.
second by Councilman Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7C, presentation update on the city's efforts to combat spread of COVID-19.
Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. It's certainly been a wild 3 weeks since our last council meeting. At that time, the county only did not have any positive cases of COVID-19. Of course, now we're up to 16. But we feel that the proactive safety measures that we've taken, both here in the city of Somerton and throughout the county, have helped to slow the spread of the virus. Throughout our city facilities, we're focused on keeping our employees healthy and safe so they can continue to carry out the vital services to our community. I've authorized department directors to allow for select employees to work remotely to limit the number of people together at any given time. These employees must adhere to the telecommuting policy and procedure developed by our city attorney during the emergency. We're doing most meetings over secure internet using Microsoft Teams to limit the in-person contact we have with one another. The senior phone hotline has been receiving about 25 to 30 calls each day. Parks and Rec staff has been assisting and answering questions related to the resources available in the community through the city and nonprofit agencies. We're providing meals to seniors now 5 times a week in conjunction with Regional Center for Border Health. We have many seniors in Somerton, and knowing that that age group, of course, is among the most vulnerable, we want to do everything we can to help them. We certainly don't want anyone in the community getting the virus, particularly our seniors. As you know, Governor Ducey expanded the number of businesses in the state who must cease operations effective this past Saturday. And the city also closed our basketball court at Joe Munoz and the skate park to be in compliance with this order. A significant focus has been placed on supporting our local businesses during the crisis. There are resources available to help businesses, and I've directed our economic development department to be aggressive in ensuring our local business owners are aware of the help that's available. You'll be seeing more short videos highlighting the various hours and offerings of local business, and we're working with Radio Sin Fronteras here in Somerton on public service announcements to help make sure that the word gets out. I've directed economic development staff to coordinate personal visits to our businesses so everyone gets the vital information they need during this difficult time. I've been in contact with my counterparts in the county and participate in a weekly call with Senator Sinema. Today I met with leadership of our police and fire departments, and we're joined by Kokopah emergency personnel to develop an advanced strategy to protect our first responders from the virus. Every department is committed to doing what they can to keep their employees healthy while ensuring that the needs of the community are met.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you for all your hard work, and also to the employees. It's it's hard working remotely, out of your comfort zone, not having the tools at your disposal, and it's been a changing. Every day it's been changing, so but we've for what the hand that we've been held, I think we've done a pretty good job. And on my part, I've been working with other mayors. The governor has been very, very receptive to our concerns. The first one was the first letter with Mayor of Tucson, Mayor of Towson, Mayor of Flagstaff, and Mayor of Winslow. It was requesting for the stay-at-home policy and also the forgiveness for the rent. And that was something that Governor Ducey implemented the next day. The other letter was for him to define the essential services because it was undefined, and he also came through with last Saturday. There were some concerns on some businesses that were open, and that we felt that it wasn't, it was potential for the virus, and in that one, all the mayors that had written the first letter, and also the mayor of Phoenix joined me, and the next day, Governor Ducey also released it. So we've been working with the governor's office and trying to get some common sense approach that works for all the cities, because we need to all be working together. If some cities are doing something, and so it needs to be across the state for this to work. Item D, discussion regarding feedback provided by community on city parks and facilities.
Mr. Mayor, at the March 17th meeting of the City Council, a group of people, including some young people and adults, spoke about the need for improved and additional parks and sports facilities here in the city during the call of the public. Of course, since council members may not discuss items brought up in call of the public during that meeting, this tonight is an opportunity for the council to discuss this topic. Consultant Jerry Rivera from Focus Consultants is here with more. Jerry.
Yes, when I have spoken to various community members as well, not including the ones that we spoke to and came last meeting. And one of the things that most of them all mentioned was the level of service that we're currently providing, and moving forward, whatever decision council makes regarding any possibility of new facilities, most of them did point out that we need to do something with our current facilities. And I've been working with Jesus Mesa from Parks and Rec, and he's almost done with the level of service that he currently has compared to a level of service that we would need to maintain current facilities, and then bring up to par that level of service that we need, but also a level of service, the number of staff for the level of service of the new facility as well. So we're bringing that information to you in our next city council meeting to see what we're going to do with this in terms of any future possibilities of financing, or what we're going to be looking at for the new parks. And obviously we need to take care of our current parks and facilities. Jesus, you want to mention something as well?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor. This is Mesa Parks and Recreation Director. We're basically working on the parks maintenance schedule, which revolves around the different parameters of our parks and recreation. It entails anywhere from maintenance, staffing, all the detail that goes into the maintenance part of Parks and Rec. That's an assessment that's almost ready to go. For next meeting, we're going to have more concrete facts, so we can make very critical and specific recommendations moving forward with the high school project. So that's where we're at in terms of Parks and Rec.
Is there any guidance from council that you would like us to follow as well, from comments from the audience from last week?
Well, it's been discussed in the retreat, and also, by staff. We understand that there's needs, and what we want to get a better idea of what our financial situation is and what our needs are. The needs, not wants, and what the agreements that we had with the school district too. So that's something that I think, at least for me, I'm still the same page, and it's, you know, we had those residents here, and you know, we heard them, and we understand that there is a need, and, you know, the members of council want to chime in.
No, I mean, I kind of, you know, reading the comments from the, you know, from our residents, you know, it's really what Mayor said, what is really a need and versus a want, and I think to me, you know, just maintaining it, you know, because if we were, doesn't matter how many fields we get, I mean, if we can't maintain it, probably give them the adequate, you know, preparation and maintenance, then it really does us no, you know. So I'd say on that, just make sure that, you know, take that into consideration. That I mean, whatever it is, that we'll be able, and maybe we need to get creative. You know, the department needs to get creative on to optimize those resources that we have, because I mean, unfortunately for us, we don't have unlimited budget. You know, so that would be my thing on that. You know, take concerns that we have.
Anybody else? Council members?
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Councilman Villalpando.
Okay, I'm pretty much in line with what both you and Councilman Castillo said. You know, we do have to sit there and analyze the wants versus the needs, but also, like Mr. Cabrera said, you know, they were concerned about the quality of what we have right now. We have to take that into consideration when analyzing how much money we want to spend on this park. You know, if we have to forego on some of the needs for the future park to accommodate the improvements of the current parks, then so be it. You know, we can't leave these other parks behind as far as the quality that they offer the community.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Do we have the agreement already in place, or has that been finalized?
With
Union High School, as far as like?
it's been sent.
We haven't received yet.
And we haven't received any feedback. No. Actually, they're the ones who sent that, and we looked at it, and it looked, the IGA looked very, very clean.
How long ago did it?
It was sent last week.
Last week.
Yes. So whenever their next board meeting is scheduled. So we'll look into the level of service. Okay. Thank you.
Item E, discussion and possible action to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement engaging Greenberg Torrey for bond special counsel services for City of Somerton.
Well, good afternoon again. Greenberg Turek was using our SAVE contract, state contract basically. They're the same firm that you've used on our last bond election. So they'll be working with our financial advisor and obviously with our finance director as well. But in front of you, you do have the proposal with the fee schedule. On the fee schedule, it is using state contract as well.
Any questions, comments? Is there a motion? There's a motion by Vice Mayor Garcia.
Second.
Second by Councilman Castillo. Did someone have a comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item F, discussion and possible action to award the lowest responsible bidder for the repair and or for the new 1.2 million gallon storage tank project. Mr. Palacios.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The background of this item invitation to bid for the construction of both projects were advertised in the Yuma Daily Sun. The repair of the existing tank and the new bolted tank. These design were prepared by James David, an associate, which is our consultant. Basically, our goal is to explore and analyze the cost of both options once we receive the bid packages. Currently, last month, we opened 3 sealed bids for the repair of the existing storage tank and the 3 sealed bids for the construction of the new storage tank. We review and analyze those bid submittals for both projects, and the results are attached in the bid tabulation record that we attach. The lowest bidder for the tank repair was Revolution Industrial LLC with a base bid amount of $601,165.95, and the lowest bidder for the new water tank was Darrell Thompson Tank Inc. with a base bid of $650,601. The pros and cons for both options are also attached for review and comment. We can discuss one by one if this council desire. Basically, the top 3 that we want to, that I want to discuss is with the option the welded tank versus the bolted tank. That is for us one of the main issues, and the reason why we choose a bolted tank is because it's cheaper than the welded tank. A new welded tank is way more expensive to construct a new welded tank versus the bolted tank. That's why we basically do not put as an option a new welded tank. Honestly, those 2 options are very good. Those are good options if we decide for the new tank, or if we decide to repair the existing tank. Is gonna be okay on both. The reason why we choose the repair is again because the to us is more secure or more strong the welded tank as is now than the bolted tank. Even though if it's a new tank, it still is a bolted tank. According to our consultant, it's tighter in the constructions and ensure the tightness on the welded tank. And another issue is on the bolted tank, we have a dome on the roof, which is going to be about 6 to 8 feet higher than the existing tank. And it's less maintenance. Yes, it is less maintenance on that option, because on the repair we're going to continue with the beams and the metal roof. So with this dome, it's basically aluminum, and it's basically less maintenance or no maintenance. But like I say, either or is good. The savings is almost nothing. It's $50,000, which is less than 10%. And I'm open to any questions that you may have. I also want to add that I received a call from Mr. Councilmember Galindo. He asked me about or why we decide to go with a repair. As I mentioned, either or is correct, either or is good. The 50,000 savings is nothing. Aesthetically, I don't know if it's a concern from council to see a higher tank between 6 or 8 feet taller than the other one. But like I say, it's less maintenance on the aluminum. If we go with a repair, maybe for the maintenance of the roof, the rafters, maybe every 10 to 15 years, because what happened in the current tank, we have the inlet on the top or on the ceiling, on the roof. So what happened is creates a lot of gases because the inlet is on the top. On the repair and on the new one, the inlet is going to be on the bottom. So with that, it's not going to create any gases at all. So that's the reason that we have the roof as is now, because of the gases that produced when was designed 20 years ago. So that is basically the main reason why the roof is in that conditions.
I have a question. Thank you for answering those are some of the questions that I have that but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, just looking at option 1, which is to repair the tank, or option 2, to purchase a new tank, with knowing that it's like a $50,000 difference. Mm-hmm. What is the life expectancy on option one, repairing the tank, and option two with the new tank?
Both is the same, 30 years with correct maintenance.
Uh-huh. And you.
Well, actually, it's gonna be less because, well, it's gonna be better on the dome because it's aluminum, it's less maintenance. But either life spec is the same.
Okay, so maybe, let's say 30 years, we're gonna get
Or
30
more.
years usage on both, per se.
Mhm.
And when you said that require, if we do the repair, the periodic recoating, you said it 8 to 10 years, and how much are we looking at spending for that? Well, hypothetically, what?
Between 30,000 to maybe 40,000
Every 10 years?
every 10, 15 years.
25 to
25 to 40,000, can be less. But like I say, the life expectancy for the tank is 30 or plus more, 50 years. I mean, we have this one, or the second tank, still there with good conditions.
Right. Yeah, and I'm trying to do the math right now. Let's say that if we have a life expectancy of, let's say, 30 years.
Plus.
Plus, you know, and if we do the repair, we're looking at, let's say, 40,000. We're looking at 120,000. In those 30 years, how much would we spend with the new tank on those? I know it says very low maintenance. Just, do you have a ballpark figure?
To be honest, I didn't have that number because on as far as I know, on the aluminum roof is basically no maintenance.
Okay.
Other than that, any other maintenance, the floor and the walls is gonna be the same. The only difference is the roof.
But this roof is gonna be, it's for repair on the
For-
existing tank, and there's gonna be an aluminum roof that they replace it, or?
On the vaulted tank is gonna be the aluminum roof, the dome on the the new tank. On the repair is gonna be the same.
The same, okay. And the bolted tank will be a higher,
Correct, because of the dome.
and the recommendation is for the repair, right?
Correct. But like I said, either or is gonna work. Our recommendation is for us aesthetically to be 6 inches, 6 feet or 8 feet taller, and the 50,000 is less than 10%. But both options are good. Now the other thing is bolted tank. I don't know if we have an earthquake, a big earthquake. I don't know how it's gonna perform the bolted tank versus the welded tank, because the welded tank is just one piece together. So our recommendation is to go with a repair.
Any other questions, comments?
I do have a question, Mayor. For Sam, where's the money coming from?
The water CIP is
We have enough money there to cover the cost?
currently we have 400,000 allocated in this fiscal year, and my plan is to allocate the extra 210 for the next fiscal year.
If I recall correctly, Councilman Gonzalez, this was part of the general fund this fiscal year, and then when we start recuperating those enterprise funds, it's gonna be credited back to the general fund. If I recall correctly, during last year's budget cycle.
Okay, thank you.
It is budgeted right now for 400.
Yeah,
That's the amount that I have.
Yeah, coming out of the general. Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Mayor, I have one.
Okay, go ahead. Mr. Villalpando.
Hello?
Yes?
Yeah, my question is in regards to the warranty. What type of warranties are we getting for each one?
As far as I know, Councilmember Villalpando, I don't have that now in my package, but I can go and check it out. Most likely are 1-year warranty old construction projects. I can check on the paint and the coating for both options.
Is it the same
So
building?
even for the whole structure, I mean, even though it's a bolt-on, I'm sure there's got to be some type of warranty versus the current one, which is a welded tank, correct?
Well, the welded tank is what we have now. Basically, on the
Yeah,
repair,
what we have now.
Correct.
But there's not going to be any type of warranty on that part, correct?
That is correct. The only warranty will be on the roof and on the floor for the repair.
Yeah, and on the floor.
Yes.
So depending on the warranty for option number 2, it might be worth our while going that route because the warranty. I mean, I'm sure they've probably done their homework and checked the welds on the welded tank, the existing tank. But I guess since I don't see that information as far as the condition of it, and it's difficult for me to say, hey, you know what, let's go and repair an existing one versus a new one when the new one's only $50,000 more.
The Councilmember Villalpando, basically the walls are in good conditions. We performed the inspection, and we also hired a structural engineer, Mr. Rob Campbell, and in the report, the walls on the welded tank, on the existing tank, is in good conditions right now.
It's probably a 1-year warranty, right?
Most likely.
Unless it was in the specifications, if it was outlined that they needed to provide a certain amount of warranty.
That is correct, Mayor. Most likely all the time is 1-year warranty on both options. I mean, meaning on the bolted tank or entirely, and 1 year for the roof and floor on the repair.
And you said it's same coating, so the
Correct.
coating should be probably 10 years or whatever payment.
That is correct.
So what's the life expectancy of the current one versus the new one? I mean, the new one you said good for 30 plus years. Is that still the case for the welded one, the existing?
Both are going to be the same, Councilmember Villalpando. With proper maintenance, it's going to be the same. The reason why we have the issue that we have now is like I explained, the inlet is currently on the roof that creates a lot of gases.
Yeah.
And with the new, the inlet is going to be on the floor.
No, yeah, I heard that part, but my concern was the whole structure. And if you're telling me that both of them are good for 30 years, then yeah, you know, I think now I'm starting to lean more towards the repair the existing tank. But that's what I needed to know. You know, if the life expectancy for both of them were 30 years.
Correct.
I was just gonna ask, how old is this tank that we're considering to repair?
It was built in 98.
98.
So 20 years. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion? The motion to go with.
With the recommendation.
There's a motion by Vice Mayor Garcia to go with staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
It's a second by Councilman Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Item G, discussion of possible action to proclaim April 2020 as Fair Housing Month in the city of Somerton.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the Civil Rights Act of 1968 and the Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988 prohibit discrimination in the sale, rental, leasing, and financing of housing or land to be used for the construction of housing or in the provision of brokerage services on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, or national origin. The council is asked to proclaim April 2020 as Fair Housing Month in the city of Somerton.
Is there a motion? There's a motion by Vice Mayor Garcia.
Second.
Second by Councilman Castillo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Fair Housing Month. Whereas the Civil Rights Act of 1968 and the Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988 prohibit discrimination in the sale, rental, leasing, and financing of housing or land to be used for construction of housing or in the provision of brokerage service on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, or national origin. And whereas the 1968 and 1988 Federal Fair Housing Acts declare that it is a national policy to ensure equal opportunities in housing, and whereas April has been traditionally designated as Fair Housing Month in the United States, and now therefore, I, Gerardo Naya, Mayor of the City of Somerton, hereby proclaim the month of April as Fair Housing Month. Item H. Discussion and possible action to approve Resolution 2020-004, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Somerton adopting a fair housing policy, making known its commitment to the principle of fair housing and describing actions it shall undertake to affirmatively further fair housing.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the Arizona Department of Housing requires that applicants seeking federal funding through that agency approve a resolution stating the city's commitment to the principles of fair housing. That's what's before you. The council's asked to approve Resolution 2020-004.
Any questions, comments? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-004.
Second.
So a motion by Councilman Castillo, second by
Councilman Roldan.
Councilman Roldan. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, summary of current events or future agenda items.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, tomorrow I'll be participating in a briefing from the Arizona Department of Emergency Management to learn how the city can be reimbursed for COVID-19 related expenses. It's a 3-hour meeting that's critical for training to make sure we understand and comply with the process for application and reimbursement. Chief Suarez and Deanda, Finance Director Gallegos, and Vice Mayor Garcia will also be joining me for this important briefing. Also, next week I'll be participating in a webinar detailing how to navigate COVID-19 related grant funding. There are billions of dollars in funding for state and local governments available, and the webinar promises to have the latest information on this type of COVID-19 related funding, as well as best practices to put the funding to use as quickly as possible. I've been working with the Community Development Department as well as Mayor Naya to develop ways to encourage Somerton residents to complete the 2020 census. Our response rate right now is at 14%, so we continue to develop programs and incentives to encourage people to participate in this very important process. Public Works has engaged the services of a consultant to complete a review of the current state of our solar installations. The initial review came back better than we were expecting in terms of the general operating condition of the units, though some repairs will still need to be made. We continue to explore this to see if it's a viable option. Tonight's meeting was the first meeting using the new agenda software. The reports from department directors who used it were favorable. There will certainly be some tweaking as we go, but I think you'll find, and I've already heard a couple of comments, that the iLegislate piece has been helpful. And a footnote, again, I mentioned something last week about IT. We're relying on IT more than ever before with the current state of affairs. And our IT department has risen to the challenge, risen to the occasion. And not only that, they're continually improving our processes here in the city. So thank you, gentlemen. And with that, I'll hand it over to Sam.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. An update on the Zocalo Gardens project. This is the CDVG project. We sent a notice to proceed to CEMEX construction. They will start construction this coming Monday, finally, on the Zocalo subdivision. Also, new 12-inch water stub out was installed on Cesar Chavez, north of Cesar Chavez and Main Street. This is for two purposes, basically. One is to continue the line to the west, to the Valley Vista project, the future project. And also the second will be for the avoid any issues with a traffic signal project on Cesar Chavez, because we want to have that line now instead of later on came and cut the new road. In addition, on this Cesar Chavez project, I was request to the YPO extra funds for our Cesar Chavez project traffic signal. We have money left on the design portion of the project, and I was able to transfer. YPO was able to transfer about 80,000, almost 90,000 to our construction portion of this project. So we have extra funds for this project. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. This is Mesa Parks and Recreation Director. A few updates right now. We established a emergency preparedness plan, which is basically a response plan to the COVID-19 emergency. It's a proactive measure, taking all the parameters involved in an emergency like this. We've been staying connected with other departments in the state and the county to address this matter in a practical way, which we protect our employees but keep on with our operational matters. And one of the matters is sanitizing. We're doing 2 crews right now. Our B crew is our evening crew. They're sanitizing facilities. They're taking care of other nuances that can't happen during the day because of the social distancing. So that's going to help. Our current employees are coming to the office every day. Also, moving along with the closures that the state, local government, or mayor, councils ordering right now. The newest matter is our skate park. That's the only one that was pending. That's going to be taken care of tomorrow morning. We getting some kind of closure involved. So there's no activity right now going on at our skate park. And we have we're moving forward with our projects right now. We're wanting to move forward with the summer activities and have our lifeguards on board and all that. So we're moving forward with the onboarding, hoping for the best, that we're able to have a regular season or reschedule our season, but make it happen in all means and ways possible. And next week we have our Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, where we're going to address the spring 2020 activities, either looking into canceling or moving forward with the rescheduling. So we're going to take this matter upon the Parks and Recreation Commission. That's right now one of the more important updates we have.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm not sick. We have been working together today with emergency management from the tribal reservation, along with Chief Jenkins, and we've put out the word as well for San Luis Police, but we're setting together a contingency plan in case one of us gets infected at the fire department or at the police department. That's one thing that we're doing. And we might have jumped the gun already a little bit on the state park, because we had a bunch of kids out there today. We went ahead and dispersed all of them. And we noticed that the basketball courts are closed. The playground, of course, we know that's been closed for a while. So we make sure that we dispersed at least some of those, well, all the kids that were there at the skate park today. We have been keeping a close eye on the businesses that have been ordered to close. That's been going really, really good. One of the things that we would like to ask from you is to continue to remind the public to stay at home. We got together with our city manager today and Chief DeAnda, and we talked a little bit about maybe sending out an additional message to the public, reminding them that we're out there trying to keep them safe. We're out there trying to go home every single day after work, and we have to do a whole cleanup at our houses to be able to get into our homes. And we're asking the public to stay at their homes to keep us safe. So we ask you, Mayor, if you can remind the public of Somerton. We're trying to do as best as we can to serve them. One of the things that we thought about when we went to the park was that we don't want a kid to get hurt, and our fire department's out there. Parents are out there, the police department's out there. So that was one extra thing that we did today. But thank you for your support, Mayor. I want to say that because I know that you were behind the movement of getting some of the protective equipment for us. I appreciate that. Our officers, everybody was very happy with that. Also, Vice Mayor Garcia also reached out to us and provided us additional links to get some of that PPE out. We've been working very closely with the fire chief to get some of the stuff as well. And I just want to mention here that Regional Center for Border Health has given us a couple of masks, and they've given us a couple of the these shields for our faces, which we appreciate a lot because they have their tents out there, but they've asked us to come out there and check the area and make sure that everything's good. The bank has been another thing. The line at the bank has been very long. We've been working with them as well to protect the traffic from any chaos at Bingham. So that's pretty much what I have. Thank you.
For you, Chief.
Yes.
I noticed that the furniture store is still open. Have we contacted them?
Alex Furniture? No, we haven't. So we probably haven't caught that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
We'll take care of it. Thank you.
And Mayor, I do have a couple bullet points from other directors that are not here, if you like. Community Development Director, Census 2020, self-response percentages as of today indicate that Somerton is very low, 14.3%, compared to the state at 42.5%. The city is looking for additional ways to incentivize residents to fill out their questionnaires. Number 2, 21 new construction permits were issued in March. All applications were submitted prior to the March 23rd date to avoid paying the new impact fees that went into effect on that date. Number 3, the infill incentive overlay plan presentation to the community has been postponed due to the COVID-19 restrictions. Staff continue receiving calls from residents asking if this plan has been approved yet. Number 4, General Plan 2020. The Planning and Zoning Commission will be presented with this draft document on April 20th for their review and comments before presenting to Council for potential adoption. Economic Development, 3 bullets. Main Street Facade Improvement Program. The new owners of the building located at 316 West Main Street will start the facade improvement of this building. Work on this project may start within the next 3 weeks. Number 2, on March 30th, Radio Sin Fronteras started announcing that Somerton's restaurants are open for business, takeout, and that some offer delivery. These announcements are in Spanish. The first run is until April 12th. Another 2 weeks will be necessary to continue with this message. And item number 3, approve local banks to lend to small businesses based on the SBA, the Small Business Administration, our First Bank Yuma, National Bank of Arizona, and Wells Fargo. And finally, from the Finance Department, 5 bullets, but they're short. Working with ADP to set up pay codes for COVID-19 schedules in case of additional funding. Working on FTE information for the 2021 budget, that's full-time equivalent information for 2021 budget. Working with Parks and Recreation regarding additional COVID-19 funding for the senior center. Working on improvement district budget with Parks and Public Works. And working with staff on telecommuting, as 2 staff members this week will be working off-site. And that's our staff reports.
Thank you. Councilman Roldan?
I got nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Galindo?
I don't have nothing either. Thank you.
Councilman Villalpando?
I don't have anything, Mayor, besides, telling staff to stay safe out there.
Councilman Gonzalez?
I just want to thank staff, our city manager, our mayor, and the rest of the council. We're all in this together. And I just want to thank to all of those who are doing their best to keep us healthy and safe.
Councilman Castillo?
You know what I do? I do want to say, I want to thank the city for all city staff for their hard work, with this unprecedented, pandemic that's happening. Mayor, I also want to give you kudos. I mean, I'm pretty sure you spent some sleepless nights, when you came to your decision on how to respond. So, I do want to thank staff for their flexibility, for being able to adapt to this situation. And please be safe, stay safe. Let's follow the CDC guidelines. With that being said, I think this also can serve as a learning experience to there's things we can learn, and something that really got my attention is that, I know here in Arizona there's no price gouging law in Arizona, but I don't know, maybe this is a legal question that maybe as a city, can we pass an ordinance on that? I'm pretty sure that's something that I don't know if it's possible or not, but,
We can look into that possibility of passing an ordinance. More than likely, if we do pass it, though, maybe the pandemic is over, but
Right.
if we can have one of those, we could certainly look into it.
right, and I think, I mean, if council agrees also, I mean, it's not, but, I mean, there were some happenings where, I mean, I understand the supply and demand, but I personally feel some of the things were a little bit, ridiculous, and I kind of feel that, our residents were exploited, and when it came to some items, and I think that I'm gonna go back to the, to the importance of making sure that, when I ran for council, I ran under the idea that I really wanted to focus on bringing another grocery store to Somerton, and I wanna make sure that during my tenure, if that doesn't happen, I don't want it to be because of lack of effort. And with that, I mean, I've asked for, I want to let the council know that I've asked for documentation on the effort that has been placed on getting another grocery store here. And I'm gonna, and I've actually talked to Ian this morning that I want us to meet on a monthly basis. I want to meet with our economic developer on a monthly basis to follow up on those avenues. Again, I mean, it's unfortunate that this is happening, but I think we can also, we gotta learn. And so with that, I mean, I just wanted to give council a heads up that, I mean, I have requested some documents and I should be getting them today. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Vice Mayor?
Just like everybody else, thank you, staff, for your efforts, for being so flexible. I know it's hard, it's something that we haven't been through, but I appreciate what you're doing, Chief. Stay safe also with, if you could relate to fire. IT, thank you for all you're doing. I know you're being a little bit overworked, but we really appreciate what you're doing. We did a phone call with the YMPO, and as Sam mentioned, we got the funds approved for the city. It was kind of weird too with the delays and stuff, but we still have. I do want to meet with you, Mayor, and Sam on how to approach moving forward with Somerton to help Somerton be a priority with YMPO. And like Ian said, I'll be attending the emergency preparedness meeting tomorrow. And that's it.
So Ian, or Sam, can facilitate that meeting, maybe through Zoom here, this next, either this week or next, so we can discuss that. On the census, Vice Mayor Garcia and Carmen have been a representative, but there's, like it's been mentioned, it's been low for Somerton. So if council members have any ideas on how to motivate people, there's been talks about raffles and just to get the word out. We talked to SMTN News too, and just to motivate people, because especially during this pandemic, it's hard. And then also that questions too that kind of affect some members of our community, but we need to make sure that everybody's counted. So if you guys have something creative or something that could motivate people, feel free to contact Ian and give him those ideas. On the CARES Act, there's information coming, and there's actually today one of the senators put out some information that was wrong, and I called the office. Hey, so it's coming out, and one of the things that I asked Ian to do was to have somebody on staff to really be very familiar with it, because we need to take ownership of that and talk to our business owners. A lot of them are not English speakers, and maybe it's intimidating to look at that, but we gotta make it like if it's our program. It's not our money, but it's our community, and we can help those businesses. There's a lot of money, we don't want them to lose out on that, all that information. So, you know, we tasked Hector, but I also asked if somebody else would also help them, and just go to business, be proactive, go over there and give them the information that's out there, because there's payroll protection, there's, you know, all kinds of stuff that right now it's coming out, and just to understand everything, it's hard, and for somebody who doesn't speak the language and maybe the resources are not there, we can help them out. That's important. And also, you know, now that the playgrounds are closed, but hopefully we concentrate on the maintenance of it. We have, you know, Council Park that's been closed, so hopefully it's fixed when it's open, and concentrate on that stuff that it's hard when parks are being open. We can use it as an opportunity to bring them up to speed if there's some issues that we haven't been able to maintain because of usage or whatever, sprinkler system because it's being used, or, you know, painting, and, you know, so maybe we can, you know, prioritize that. And, you know, again, you know, staff and also chiefs and everybody for, you know, this changing times. It's trying, and, you know, I told Ian that the important thing here is to keep our employees safe, and productivity is lowered in the short run, but everybody's safe. You know, I'm comfortable with that, so that's something that, and also the council members, thank you for you know, calling in. I know it's uncomfortable, maybe you can't hear, but, you know, we gotta be the example for the community, and you know, be social distant, and also be promoting all the you know, the stay at home, stay safe, stay connected as much as you can. You have, you know, followers on social media. Please make an effort, because it's important. We only have limited resources. We have, you know, a small police department and a small fire department. If God forbid something happens, we are going to be suffering. So we gotta take this very serious. That's it. Meeting's adjourned.